Is it your testimony, Ms. Heard, that you sought medical treatment after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose after the Met Gala?
Not after the Met Gala. I did not seek medical attention, no.
You also attended an event after the Met Gala in May of 2014, didn't you?
That is correct.
Oh my God.
You went to
Bro.
the All-Star Comedy Tribute to Don
Yeah, she's bringing her own lawyers. Yep.
That was the next night after the Met Gala.
That is correct.
And there were pictures of you taken at this event.
Yes.
Let's see them.
Please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1252.
Oh, we gonna see it. Oh, we gonna see it. Let's see it. Here we go.
This is a picture of you, Ms. Heard,
Oh
Yes, it
my
is.
at that
God.
event,
Yes, it is.
the night after the Met Gala,
Yes, it is.
the night after Mr. Depp allegedly broke your nose.
I'm not sure if it was broken, for the record, but yeah, you should see what it looked like underneath the makeup.
Okay,
He
let's
whacked you
see
so
what it
hard
looks
in the
like with
face
the
that you
makeup on.
thought you had broken your nose.
Exactly.
Right. Permission to admit this photograph.
All right, 1252.
Oh
In
boy.
evidence.
Oh boy. Here we go. Wow. Look
This is a
at
picture
that.
of you, Mr. Depp, and Don Rickles, right?
That is correct.
Damn.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit
Look at that.
1253.
Ooh, I saw it. Yep.
This is another picture from that evening, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, it is.
Permission to admit Exhibit
Uh-oh.
1253.
I
and
saw it.
publish.
Yeah, this picture is
All right,
just
so
like
move.
out in
1253
public.
in evidence.
This is brutal. Holy fuck. Oh wow, look at that.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp
Look at that.
at the event the night after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he had broken your nose.
He did whack me in the face, and I did think it broke my nose.
I can see
And
that.
this is you the night after.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Let's please pull up
I love the
Exhibit
pauses.
1254.
Jesus Christ.
This is also a picture of you at the same event, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Move
That's
to admit
brutal.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1254.
All right, 1254 in evidence.
Destruction feels nice. This is just, oh my
Just to confirm
God.
now that the jury can see it, this is a picture of you
We've
at the
got
same
hours
event,
of
the night
this.
after Mr. Depp allegedly whacked you in the face so hard and he thought he broke your nose.
This is a picture of me
Yes.
after he did whack me in the face.
I could see
The night
that.
after,
We could all
right?
see that.
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
Holy fucking shit.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Ms. Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
Right. And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine, and for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Ms. Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to.
Uh-huh.
It's not my job.
It's someone else's fault. It's your legal
Really?
team's
Approach.
fault.
Yes, it's fine.
Can you believe the legal team they threw her under the bus like that? Wow. So the legal team is conspiring to make her own lawyers are against her. Wow. Her own lawyers are against her. Wow. That's nuts. Can you fucking believe that? Holy shit, this is fucking brutal. Oh my God. Like, the best part about this is, like, this is only the fucking beginning. Like, this is only the beginning. Oh my God. After the PR team, like, this is just, oh God. Oh my fucking God. This is the end of her, man. This is only, yeah, this has been going on for like 10 minutes. Holy fucking shit. I'd quit right then and there. And you know that they might try to settle, but there's no way that Johnny is gonna let him settle. Like, he will take this all the way, and everybody knows it. Because his reputation is on the line, and he's gonna do it as much as he possibly can. Yeah, I won't be surprised if tomorrow she turns up with a new legal team. I wouldn't be surprised either. Holy shit. God fucking damn, man. She's staring at a jury like you better be intimidated and taking it to my side or else? Yeah, of course she is. It's worth the wait of boarding assessment with all of emotional manipulation? Yep, that's right. It's just... I didn't expect it to be this bad. Like, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Like, I did not expect it to be this bad. I thought it was just gonna be like, you know, whatever, right? And they're just asking her questions and making it look like she's like, this is fucking awful. Holy shit. She deserves it? I think she does. I definitely think so. Absolutely. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. Heard about SDF to her questions in advance so she can rehearse. Holy shit. Anyone else knows John wasn't wearing rings in the picture? Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. They literally woke me up. Holy fuck. They're about to go on full-on beast mode. This is just... It's like, how many of these bullshit lies are they going to go through? It's got to be like a dozen of them, I would bet. And after cross-examination, her self-hired psychologist knew it was going to be good. Longest 10-day wait ever. Yep, that's right. Man. Amber's lawyers don't want to show the pics because it's so bad for Amber's case. You're probably right. Where, like, she does have a picture of her nose, and her nose is like this. It's like that. There's, like, a little bit of red on her nose. Like, yeah, it's about like this, and it's like, man, like, this is after Johnny beat the fucking shit out of me, you know? Like, Johnny just fucking took me to task. Like, yeah, your nose is broken. Like, oh, God. Her makeup must be amazing. Yeah, I know. Dude, you just broke your nose on stream. Aren't you worried about getting banned? Yeah, exactly. This cross-examination is like the Elden Ring tree sentinel coming at the beginning of the game. Well, if anything, it's like, you know the thing where he jumps up in a horse and he just slams the fucking thing down? That's exactly what it's like, yeah. This is only phase 1 right now. Oh my fucking God, man. Big chunky rings, by the way. Very true, you can't forget about that. Holy fucking shit. She's getting a nose like Pinocchio soon? Yeah, apparently. Wow. Ember's like, why do I hear boss music? Yeah, this is just fucking, like... It's just, what's funny for a few...
I don't know what you mean.
She's about to have one
You didn't show this jury
She's
a
about to
picture
have
of
one
you
admitted
with
to
the
evidence.
Mordecai
You know it,
premiere
I know it, everybody
wearing
knows
a
it.
backless dress, did you?
Here we go.
I haven't had the opportunity to.
Here it comes.
I assume you have it?
I do.
Yep.
Let's please pull
There
up
it is.
Plaintiff's Exhibit
Here we go.
1256.
I assume you have it. See, like, she knows what's going on. Yep. All right.
This is a picture of you and Mr. Depp, or the back of you, at the Mordecai premiere in Tokyo, correct, Ms. Heard?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I move to admit and publish this picture.
All right, 1256 in evidence.
Okay. Wow.
This is you in the backless dress at the
That's
Mordecai premiere
horrible.
in Tokyo, right?
That is correct.
Oh
Agree that
my
there are no
God.
bruises or visible marks on your back in this picture.
No, not that I could see.
That's interesting. That's very,
I'll show
very
you
interesting.
one other photo. If we could please
Oh,
have
good.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
As if this wasn't enough. Holy shit.
This is a front angle picture of you and Mr. Depp at that premiere, correct?
That is correct.
Let's
to
see it.
admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1257.
Oh my God.
1257.
It's called it's back makeup. Yeah, somebody did makeup on her back.
I'll show you one more picture. Plaintiff's Exhibit
Okay.
1258.
Yeah, that looks like somebody that just got the shit beat out of them. Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, Ms. Heard, this is you and Mr. Depp at the Mordecai premiere.
Yes, it is.
Move to admit
Let's see it.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 1258.
Yeah, let's see it.
All right, 1258 in evidence. Publish.
And that's the backless dress, right, Ms. Heard?
Wow,
is
from the
correct.
other angle. That is interesting.
You also told this jury about an incident in Australia in March of 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
Another one.
You testified that after this alleged incident, you had cuts on your forearms, right?
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had cuts on the
Oh my
bottoms of your
God.
feet as well.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's true.
And you testified that you had a bruise across your jaw from when Mr. Depp, quote, clocked you in the face.
Yeah.
That's true.
The Elden Lord.
You didn't take any pictures of these injuries while you were in Australia, did you?
I don't think I took any pictures.
That's convenient.
You just took 2 pictures of Mr. Depp's writing on a mirror. Isn't that right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
So you had your phone on you, right?
At some point I did have my
Yes.
phone.
And your iPad?
I had my
She's
iPad, I
calling her
believe.
out on exactly
You
what I
testified
said.
that you were also raped with a liquor bottle in Australia, right, Miss Heard?
Yes.
You testified you bled from your vagina as a result of that sexual assault.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
There aren't any medical records reflecting that you sought medical treatment for any of these injuries, are there?
I did not seek medical treatment after Australia, no.
How
Not for the rape?
convenient.
No. I did not
How
need to.
convenient.
Not for the cuts?
No.
Not for the injuries to your face?
I didn't need to.
Oh my god. I didn't need to.
You also told the jury about an incident on December 15, 2015, right?
Where? I'm sorry.
December 15th, 2015.
Where she threw
Yes,
that's
that's
where she
correct.
threw the can at him.
You told this jury that after this incident, you had a broken nose.
Again?
It certainly felt like
Bro, how does she even have a nose at all at this point?
Sir, do you recall
She'd be looking
your
like
testimony
Voldemort
on
if this
May
shit was true.
16th In this trial,
Oh, here we go. Let's here we go.
you
Yes,
were
I
under
do.
oath, right?
Yes.
You have.
Oh my god, more broken noses than most boxers? Hey, it is what it is. Holy fuck, man. This is
Okay.
Like-
All right, we'll get it.
god fucking damn. Because like I bet she's gonna show some paparazzi photos or some shit from whenever they were in Australia. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure, but we'll see what's gonna happen. It's not looking good for her. You know what? I think about the same thing. Yeah, it's TOS to show a public execution? Yeah, I know, isn't it great? Oh my god. Here we go, let's see it.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
All right, yes, ma'am.
And would you like a copy?
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. Let's follow along. Oh boy. Oh boy.
If I can please direct your attention,
Why
Ms.
it's live stream?
Heard,
Because
to
Johnny Depp wanted
page
a live stream.
of day 16,
You want people to know.
4593. The
Oh,
jury
here we
trials
go.
transcript.
Here we go. Here we fucking go. This is like a school test? Yeah, I know. We have to turn a specific page? Yep, that's right.
Lines 8 through 13.
Oh my
The
god.
line,
That's correct.
and we will look at some of those in a minute. But I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Sure. Can I close this?
Your hair out. Reopening when you moved your mouth.
Yes, she did.
That's correct.
Yes.
You also testified that you had bruising on your temple,
She's gonna show some paparazzi photos.
That's correct.
I'm pretty sure.
bruising on your chin.
And I bet she's not gonna look like a raccoon.
Correct.
Guaranteed.
You also testified that your head was bleeding from where
Oh
Mr.
my
Depp ripped chunks of your hair out,
I remember, yes.
Yeah.
and that you had, quote, gross, pussy, and, quote, bruising around your temple.
In my scalp, yeah.
Now, for this incident, you did take pictures,
That's correct.
and we will look at some of those in a minute. But I first want to talk to you about your appearance on the James Corden show.
Sure. Can I close this?
Sure.
Jesus
You appeared on the
Christ.
James Corden show the day after this alleged incident, right?
I did.
Yeah?
And that was December 16th, 2015.
Yes, that's correct.
Let's please pull up a clip of your appearance from that evening. If we could, Plaintiff's
Okay.
Exhibit 35. And for the record, we will only be playing a portion of this, so we will call it Plaintiff's Exhibit 35A.
All right, any objection?
All right, let's see it.
35A in evidence.
I grew up, in Texas riding horses and.
Oh, really?
Not
Not a big ballet community out there in Texas.
No, not so much. Shooting guns, yes, but ballet, no. So I wanted to train for it, and there were some ballet sequences that we wanted to have the option to incorporate into the movie. So I trained forever, and I have 2 left feet. I'm the most klutzy person in the world, and I have no grace. So I knew.
Your Honor, I'm so
I had
sorry,
trained.
but it's not published to the jury. We may have it please published.
Okay, thank you.
Apologies. If we can please start that over.
Here we go. Here we
Thank you.
go. Let's watch it again. Wow.
I grew up, in Texas riding horses and.
Damn, look at that.
Not a big ballet community out there
She
in
got
Texas.
fucked up.
Yeah, no, not so much. Shooting guns, yes, but ballet, no. So I wanted
Oh
to
my
train
God.
for it, and there were some ballet sequences that we wanted to have the option to incorporate into the movie. So I trained forever, and I have 2 left feet. I'm the most klutzy person in the world, and I
Yeah.
have no grace. So I knew I had to train for it, and what they don't tell you, I crammed about 3 months of solid training in, and I'm kind of like working my way up from the floor and learning the technical aspect of ballet, and I've got these dances down technically perfectly. I'm learning all the movements, but the last thing we get to are the hands. And I haven't yet got to that point, but everything else is working, and I'm acting it up on my face, and I'm selling the ballet.
Just
And-
like the-
and I
just
think I'm
like the
doing really good
courtroom.
at this point,
Yeah.
kind of nailing it.
I get
And
it.
so I send videos and images to my friends to like get encouragement and look for their support.
Except whenever
And
you get
everyone
attacked.
shoots back, "What with the claw hand?" And I look and I realize like all that stress and fear of performing and doing this thing had just kind of like funneled out through the one thing that I hadn't yet like
What were your
mastered.
hands doing?
So I'd be doing this amazing, I'd be doing like a jump with a back bend, and you can see this like graceful falling, and
Oh,
my
yeah.
hands are like. And my face though is like I've got that you saw in the clip, like this beautiful 1920s, stage makeup on and like
Wow,
flower
look at-
crowns and all this stuff.
Two
And then
black
my hand-
eyes.
And my face, and then my hands.
So I wonder why we're watching that.
That was you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015,
Let's
right,
find
Mr.
out why.
That was.
Let's please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 98.
Oh, here we go. Here's another one.
These are pictures of you on the James Corden show on December 16th, 2015, right, Mr.
Okay.
They look like freeze frames, like screen grabs, stills. They're not like it's not like a photo shoot, it doesn't seem.
But on the James Corden show, correct?
From that appearance, yes.
Move to admit and publish Plaintiff's Exhibit 98.
Any objection? All right, and Ms. Bernhoff, you could move the microphone and turn it on for you, so Judy and I are having trouble hearing you.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. All right, 98
Look
evidence.
at that. Wow, look at all that abuse. Holy shit.
That's a photo of you opening your mouth.
Oh
on the
my
right,
God.
Right?
That's correct.
And again, a larger
Oh
view of the same
my
photo
God.
on the bottom
That's correct.
with a split lip.
You've seen pictures of it without makeup. Yes,
So you had a split lip when you
I
were
sure
moving
did.
your mouth that way
I sure did.
in those photographs.
Absolutely.
We can see that. Yeah, we can see that, obviously.
You did take pictures of your alleged injuries after December 15th, correct? And you showed those to this jury?
I sure did. Yes.
All right, let's see him.
Let's please pull up Defendant's Exhibit 516, which is already in evidence.
It's like, how bad is it that they're using your own fucking defense against you? Like, that's bad. Holy shit. That's like somebody taking your own hand and hitting yourself in the head with your own hand.
You testified that this
It's
was
awful.
a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015, right?
It was.
And if we could also please pull up Defendant's
Holy
Exhibit
shit.
517, which is also in evidence.
Holy shit. Wow, look at that.
It's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is also a picture of you after the incident on December 15th, 2015.
That's correct.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 409, which is already in evidence.
New photos show Amber Heard's alleged injuries in another domestic violence incident. Wow.
These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that
Yep.
right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You gave these
Jesus.
pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
Uh-huh.
So you did give these pictures to People magazine.
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
It's not
That's
your
your
fault.
testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures
Without
of
your
their
consent?
client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce.
I certainly did not personally give it, no.
You, oh my God. You
You also have a
lying
medical
bitch.
record from-
Holy shit.
After the December 15th, 2015 incident, don't you?
A partial one, yes.
Wow.
You went to see Dr. Kipper's office a couple days later.
That's right. He wasn't in the office.
Can we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 47, which is already in evidence?
They're getting the evidence. It's like they didn't, yeah, she didn't do it. They did
This
it.
is your medical record for December
Oh.
17th, 2015, isn't it, Ms. Heard?
2 days after the event. 2 days.
That's correct.
And this record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
Isn't that interesting?
I don't think so, no. I don't think I spoke to Kipper. I didn't speak to Kipper that day. And
You
I
went
didn't.
to Dr. Kipper's office and were seen, correct?
I went to Dr. Kipper's office for a concussion check.
Right, okay. And this medical
thanks for
record
Fox
is
Ups.
from that visit, correct?
Partially, yes.
Scroll down, please, if we could.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
The signature, Kipper, down below. This is the entirety of the medical record. Right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, what I meant by partial is I didn't talk about what happened to me. I didn't get into my
Scroll
injuries.
down.
I didn't get into what happened or
Jesus
ask for
Christ.
anything other than should I get some sort of scan done.
Holy
But this
fuck.
record doesn't document any physical injuries on you, does it?
It certainly
I'd have to
seems
read
like
in full,
it
but
doesn't.
I don't know.
Well, let's do that.
Oh my
Please,
God. Oh
Well,
my.
under skin, on the second page,
Yeah.
it reads intact, normal color, moisture, hair distribution, texture, turgor, no signs of, oh, this is going to be hard, cyanosis, mottling, jaundice.
Uh-huh.
It also says I'm a well-nourished male.
Right. I have no idea what that means.
I think this medical record's missing a lot of things.
Yeah, but it doesn't document any physical injuries.
Doesn't seem to be documenting anything.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably because there was nothing to document, right, Ms. Heard?
I disagree with you on that.
Probably
You
because
don't
there's
have any
nothing,
medical
right?
records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I saw an ENT after my relationship.
Ah. Years after.
And you saw an ENT, it's your testimony under oath that you saw an ENT for broken noses that you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
No, but the ENT told me I sustained
Objection.
multiple fractures.
No, I'm going to move to strike. Your
I'll
Honor.
sustain the objection.
Yeah, shut up.
Thank you.
Ask your question, shut up.
So again, just
Oh
to
my God.
try my question. There's no medical records reflecting that you broke your nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp, is there, Ms. Heard?
I don't know what made it in evidence, but I do know that I documented that visit and that everything was given to my attorneys.
Ms. Heard, you never went to see any doctor.
She's blaming
or
the
surgeon
attorneys again.
to treat a broken nose during your relationship with Mr. Depp. Yes or no?
I never sought treatment for broken nose while I was with Johnny.
Or after you were with Mr. Depp, as a result of any injuries you sustained as a result of Mr. Depp?
Afterwards, yes, I did.
And you didn't produce those medical records in this case.
I would object, Your Honor. She did.
I did.
I don't know. All right.
They have not been produced, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
they've not only
All right,
been
if you would
produced.
Common approach.
Here we go. Holy shit, man. Dude, she's throwing everybody under the bus. Like, I mean, like, she's blaming her own legal team. She's blaming everybody. This is brutal. And the thing is, like, they're just in 2015. Like, there's going to be a bunch of other things. Because, like, you know what she's going to do, right? Is, like, the times where she doesn't have her photos, she didn't take the pictures herself, there's going to be paparazzi everywhere. And the paparazzi are going to have photos of it, and you're going to be able to see it right there. Yeah, at least the paparazzi is going to have at least some use this time. Holy shit. How long until she throws the judge under the bus, you think? Oh, I think so. It's probably going to happen. Like, this is just lawyers to dodge the questions, using the protected communications to lie.
You don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any dental work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't recall.
You don't recall, one way or another, seeking dental care for any injuries you allegedly sustained?
You asked me about if I had produced records or if I had records. That's a different question.
Did you ever see a dentist or an oral surgeon as a result of any injuries you sustained with Mr. Depp?
Not about any injury I had from Johnny, no.
And you don't have any medical records reflecting that you required any reconstructive work during your relationship with Mr. Depp, do you?
Oh my
I
god.
never required reconstructive work.
How convenient.
There would be no records.
Yeah, how convenient.
What you do have, Ms. Heard,
Wow.
are pictures of Mr. Depp sleeping, though, right? The jury saw a lot of those.
Yes.
Ms. Heard, let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1090, which is already in evidence.
Here we go. Let's do it. Oh my god. This is just, this is bad, man. This.
What are you here for today?
I'm here because I stand with Amber Heard. I think what's going on Twitter is very sad to see. I think free speech is very important to me. I think that not enough people are being considerate on the internet. Even if you disagree with my stance, I do believe that you should be considerate and be able to listen to everyone's opinions, even if you disagree with them. Free speech, I think, has been under attack in America recently. I think that because of what Elon Musk is doing with the acquisition of Twitter, there's a lot of questions coming about with bots and whatnot. Free speech for me is really important because you should be able to listen to all views, whether right or wrong, and still be able to talk about it in a considerate manner. I think right now people are pushing for selective listening instead of free speech.
Amber Heard are watching her, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart the way that she's being forced to relive all of this in front of the world, and they just like the power imbalance, if that makes sense.
Why do you see him as the one with the power and not her?
I mean, he's older than her, richer than her, more famous than her.
So is this a case that you've always taken an interest in? Like, have you been interested in, like, when did you start paying attention to this?
Honestly, about 2 weeks ago.
His response.
Ms. Hurd already filed for divorce.
Years. That's by Johnny.
Who's on the objection at the time and had been hammering the judge? Court, yeah.
In the course of your career acting in theater, television, movies, etc., did you come to meet a person by the name of Johnny Depp?
Yes.
Can you specify in time, Ms. Barkin, when you met him?
I would say 1990.
And upon or after meeting him, did there come a time when you became friends?
Yes.
And can you describe how that happened?
We just developed a friendship over time that lasted, I guess, if we met in the 90s, maybe 10 years or a little less.
And fair to say that Mr. Depp at the time was also an actor, a professional actor?
Yes.
Were you, did you act in any film, stage, or TV productions with Mr. Depp?
Yes, I was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
How often would you see Mr. Depp?
When I lived in New York, usually whenever I go to LA, if I were in LA, I'd see him once a week, maybe more. I mean, the friendship went up and down, living on different coasts.
And did there come a time when your friendship with Mr. Depp became more than that, became romantic in nature?
Yes.
And at what point in time did your relationship with Mr. Depp take a romantic turn?
After I had moved to Hollywood, and he, you know, switched the buttons.
Recall what year you moved to Hollywood?
Yes, 1994.
When you said switch the buttons, can you tell me what you meant by that?
The friendship went from a purely platonic friendship to a romantic one.
At that point in 1994, when the relationship turned romantic, to your
Can you change that to sexual?
To sexual.
Thank you.
For how? At that point in 1994, when the relationship turned romantic, to your
Can you change that to sexual?
To sexual.
Thank you.
For how long did your relationship with Mr. Depp remain sexual?
Several months. Anywhere between 3 and 5, 6.
And during
when you were in the house, correct?
Correct.
And you had interaction with Debbie Lloyd when you're in the house, correct?
Yes, briefly.
Let this witness go. He's
And isn't it
killing
true that in the entire time you were there, you were not informed as to what caused damage to Mr. Depp's hand?
Effective. The whole article is
Finger on March
basically
8th?
Objection, hearsay.
Asking what he wasn't told.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Objection reverser say.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he sustained an injury on one of his
Well,
fingers.
objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Injury to his finger. But you don't know what caused the injury.
Idiot.
One of his fingers.
But you don't know what caused.
Initial deals,
Why?
like
Also instruct you.
aggression is
as a
Will
super for that.
the plaintiff, they're the ones that are bringing it, but the prosecution is the state. The plaintiff is the one who decides to file the complaint against the other person. The
In the UK litigation that the son
No, Alita,
and
no.
Dan
You're
Wolfson
good.
had committed libel.
I was
by
explaining
what I thought.
vicarious liability.
of being a, quote,
This is
wife
what
beater
I
in the court
thought.
and committing domestic violence against Amber Heard, correct? That's true.
of this year.
Attorney-client communications
You
as
know
to
what?
the thought process that went into filing.
Yeah, it's February 15th, 2022. Yeah.
I accept.
Just after Ben choose Valentine's Day, he's out
After
there
he began
blocking
representing
attorney-client
Mr. Depp,
privilege.
Mr. Depp filed suit against Amber
Just out
Heard,
there.
his former wife, correct?
I was wondering when I saw that he had been deposed, I
And
was
you
like,
represented
what
Mr.
could they
Depp
possibly get
in
out of
the
him?
lawsuit.
They're just doing the old plead the fifth, make it seem like an admission.
2019, up until October of 2020.
I think there's a certain patina of trying to make it look like Depp's team is hiding something.
And it was Mr. Depp's
Which is
decision
legal.
whether to file the
Pleading
lawsuit
fifth in a
against
civil
Amber
case.
Heard.
This seems inappropriate to me.
Would instruct the witness not to answer that question based on attorney-client.
To include all the to include the banter about privilege. Yeah,
And Mr. Depp is alleging in
we could talk
this
about it in a
lawsuit
break. Attorney-client
that
privilege
Amber
is so
Heard
necessary to
defamed
have
him by
candid
suggesting
conversations to
that he
get
had
proper
committed
legal
domestic
counsel.
abuse.
That
Correct?
obviously we're lawyers, we're going to feel one way or another about it, but
Yes.
all of this is legitimate. Say, no, you can't say anything about anything you said to him.
And
frankly, it almost feels like
Johnny
could be insulated with malpractice if he loses based on his attorney's words to the public. Like in Virginia. So reject
Folks
on
in the
that
chat
basis,
asking,
but you
I'm
can
eating a
answer that
salad.
question, yes or no.
Holmes is interested in it too, apparently.
Yes. You also spoke with the press on Mr. Depp's behalf, did you not?
All right, this is
Interview before
One engagement for on the grounds of attorney.
I ever asked you to
Accept the instruction.
In favor of her.
And
Probably because
I provided.
Single question.
It's a.
Have you communicated in a similar fashion with someone on social media who goes by the name That Brian fella?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Is he in the courtroom?
What
I
about
hope
someone
so.
who goes by the name
I think-
Real Laura B?
Real Laura B.
Yes.
And have you communicated to those individuals listed
We know these people.
evidence that you believe suggests that Miss Heard's allegations are hoaxes?
I would say I communicate with the internet journalists because we put them in a category calling them that. I've done that. Exactly the same way I would communicate with mainstream media.
Holler, you heard it right here.
If they have questions.
Just as good as mainstream media.
I'll inform them.
I think we're gonna start seeing a lot of like
And have you-
YouTubers
when you
named in
communicate with them,
lawsuits like
you
this.
so
Oh yeah.
You testified some by phone,
Emily
correct?
D. Baker has been named
Yes.
before. I
Do
can't
you
remember
do
who
so
else.
by text or messenger platform?
Largely, I think by phone, but if I
Otis
communicated
Brashka
in
listening in
writing,
the
it
background
would
got
be
confused hearing
probably
Lithuanian
by
language.
signal.
Yeah. I know it happens.
Can you please pull up the exhibits, ALH?
So I am recognized as the person most knowledgeable in domestic violence. I oversee how our department as a whole responds to domestic violence. So I don't investigate cases right now myself, I just make sure that officers and detectives are responding to domestic violence how California State Penal Code wants us to.
And how long have you been with the LAPD?
17 years.
What, if any, policies, procedures, and protocols are in place at the LAPD for domestic violence cases separate from other types?
So once we determine there is domestic violence, we have to determine whether there is a crime. Every time we respond to a domestic violence call, for state law, we need to document whether it's a crime or just an incident, which would be when there is not a crime, but there's still paperwork done. So that is part of the officer's investigation.
Now, I had asked a little earlier about when the victim is reluctant to press charges. If the patrol officers saw property damage or marks on the face of the victim, even if the victim was not cooperating and did not want to press charges, what would the patrol officers' obligations be back in May 2016 on a domestic violence call?
If officers determined that there was domestic violence, even if a victim is reluctant, our policy is they still make that arrest if the suspect is there or take a report.
So if there are, when the patrol officers arrive at the scene, and this is May 2016, and there are 4 people that are present at the scene, how many of those individuals are the patrol officers obligated to interview? So I'm going to show you the incident call here, and it goes down and it has domestic dispute. And then it says, met with victim, looks like check location, verified husband left, victim advised verbal dispute, and refused to give any further information, issued business card. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. In May of 2016, was the language victim advised verbal dispute language that patrol officers were trained to provide when they were not going to document anything from the scene?
It can vary, but officers would commonly use the phrase verbal dispute or to document when a report was not taken.
I'm going to ask you to take a look at what has been marked as deposition exhibit number 8. It's dated November 24, 2014.
You'll get a summary for sure. If not through this live stream,
And
on the
it's
recap for sure.
Subject domestic
For sure.
violence supplemental report. And it says the domestic violence supplemental report form 15.40.02 has been revised to provide a more concise picture of the history and needs of the victim for the purpose of investigating the crime of domestic violence. Do you see that?
Yes.
What is your understanding of why the LAPD decided that they needed to create a supplemental report form that would give a more concise picture of the history and needs of the victim for the purpose of investigating the crime of domestic violence?
Right. The supplemental includes a lot of questions that are required by California state law. So we included that on it. And the original supplemental was actually created a lot earlier, I believe in 1999. This revision of it added some specific questions to help us look at to do a risk assessment. I'm not sure if the supplemental is attached to this form, but on the supplemental, there's a section where I believe there's like 7 yes or no questions. That is what was added during this revision.
Detective Sadnaga, I'm going to show
I
you
think
what
so.
is marked
I think this is
as
another attempt to
deposition
say that
exhibit
they
number
didn't
9.
investigate properly or something.
And do you recognize this supplemental report?
Yes.
Is this the supplemental
Except she said that she's
form
from the
that was referred
LAPD,
to
so I don't
in
know.
Exhibit number 8.
I don't know how much she's actually going to be
Yes.
willing to do that.
Okay. Now, if we look at this, and we start out on the left-hand column, and it has a number of different observations to make of the victim. And it includes shaking, unresponsive, crying, scared, angry, fearful, calm, agitated, nervous, threatening, apologetic, under the influence of alcohol, under the influence of drugs, or other observations. And it says document in narrative. All right, are these typically characteristic of victims of domestic violence?
Yes.
I'm going to turn your direction to the crime scene now. And the same question, there's a number of different items on here, including location, vandalized, ransacked, and personal property damage, furniture disarray, broken. What is your understanding why these are included on this list?
My understanding is that these are things that are typically at a crime scene or can occur. So
clear yet.
Things that we want officers to look for and mark when they take the crime report.
And as with the questions I
she
had
continues
on
on.
the characteristics that are on the list for the victims, are these items that are also discussed with the police officers in their training to look for in even making the determination whether a crime has taken place?
Yes, they are.
Is there a scenario under which the patrol officers decide that there's no crime, but they see property damage and injury and take photographs?
I mean,
It's such a long question.
Every situation is different. I believe, well, one way, if we have a situation like that occurred, then there should be a domestic violence incident report. So there is a place to document your observations and statements from people and the reason to have those photographs.
Even if ultimately the officers determined that it wasn't a crime.
And yes, that's why domestic violence incident reports are reports where there are no crime, and that is why we have them, so we can document and have a history of calls and see, in case there is another call in the future, that there is prior history of any type of domestic call, even if it was not ultimately ruled a crime.
Would that incident report include if there were interviews with witnesses and if there were any photographs or notes taken?
Yes, there is still a narrative that is written where everything, the officer's investigation and observations and any photographs are listed.
And was there an incident report in place in May of 2016 for patrol officers to use in domestic violence calls?
Yes.
Could you please describe the purpose of an incident report as of May 2016 and what was included typically in an incident report?
Detective Santiago from 99. She kind of does a little bit.
Domestic violence incident reports were to record when officers responded to a call of domestic violence that did not result in a crime. They are actually required by state law for us to document every domestic violence incident that we respond to. And in that report, it's the same. I keep calling it a face sheet. That's not the official term, but the same as a crime report that we would take it on, but you fill out the information. You just do not list a suspect because we have no crime. It's the victim who was in fear that the other party may cause some type of danger to them, and that other party is then listed as a witness. And then there is a narrative that is included, the same type of narrative that would be in a crime report, where you would write down your source of activity. The officers would put their source of activity and then document their investigation. The statements that anyone made, as we ask on domestic violence calls, what type of relationship it is, how long, they've been together, any prior incidents of domestic violence. All that would be included in the narrative of an incident report.
And would any photographs or other notes also be included in that incident report?
Yes, they can be, if there was anything that they saw that officers believe needed to be documented in there.
And where would an incident report, and I'm again back in May 2016, where would that be filed or stored once the patrol officers were done with their shift for the day?
The officers would turn in their reports, including any incident reports, to the watch commander, who would read over it and sign it off. And if it is approved, it would go to our records unit at that division to create a report number on it. And then it does get assigned to a detective, just so that we have it on file in case there's any future incidents.
Do officers at some point have to make a determination as to whether domestic violence has occurred?
Yes, they do.
Okay. What criteria do
Rob,
officers use to make
welcome to our video game. We are having a discussion with an
They
NPC.
use the
Is my mic super
interviews
loud?
with the parties
No,
that
no,
are
I got
there.
you already. I adjusted
What
you before you
they
came in.
observe at the scene, even what they observe, like the demeanor of the victims and the suspects. Every situation is different, but it's really like taking in the whole 360 of where you are and what's occurred, so they can get all information to make that educated determination.
So this is to impeach
of
the
crime
officers, right?
Can you just generally describe for me the circumstances under which a domestic incident report is used?
We take a incident report when we determine there is no crime, but that one of the parties is in fear that either their life was in danger or they could be a victim of some type of serious bodily injury. So I think the third incidents you would have, or where we don't take the incident report, is where both parties state it was an argument, there was no physical injury, both parties say we weren't afraid that the other was going to do any type of harm.
And they found nothing.
Okay. And so, in that case, in that third case that you just described, would there be any documentation required
Adam
typically?
Waldman is asking questions now.
On that third one, when we don't have the fear, so it makes it an incident report, it's only documented on that daily field.
Is there a date stamp on the video?
Ms. Meadowhoff asked a line of questions earlier on in the deposition about
Amber's Heidi hair.
Victims of domestic violence being
I hate
reluctant
that style.
to come
When she
forward
does
and
that,
speak
she's
up.
done it
Do
a
you
lot
recall
in this
that?
case.
Yes, done it a lot.
Is that a
Doesn't mind
significant
it.
problem in dealing with domestic violence calls?
But in this case, it's
yes.
Is that a problem that you have
I don't
personally
like it in
experienced
court.
on your own calls?
Wait till you see what Spidey comes out with.
When confronted with a person who's unwilling to make a statement, is there much that a police officer can really do if you have somebody who just refuses to make a statement and refuses to indicate that they have suffered violent abuse?
It's not too much. Usually, we teach them to talk about the cycle of violence and power and control, and see if we can, start a rapport with the victim and get them to discuss. But if they really don't want to tell us what happened, we can't force them.
All of them.
We can't force them.
If a potential victim has visible injuries, or that there are indications at the scene that there has been some sort of violent episode,
March
does
12th,
the fact
2021.
that the potential victim declines to make a statement mean that the officers can't go forward?
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh.
Not necessarily. They would need to investigate more, but you do have the visible injury and evidence of some type of struggle. So they would need to try to get that probable cause to determine that it was a crime that created that injury.
Alita, I found you a link. I'm going to drop in the private chat. You might like it.
Okay.
If observed injury, if observed property damage, back and forth, and both of us have asked you a lot of questions about this. And so I just want to make sure that it's very clear. If a police officer responding to a domestic violence call sees injury, regardless of whether the victim cooperates, what is the police officer's obligation? This is as of May 2016.
To do an investigation to determine if that injury was a result of a crime.
And that investigation would include what?
It would include interviewing anyone that is at scene, seeing if there's any type of physical evidence of altercation, or depending on
I'm about to bust these open soon.
the story that was given, if there's corroboration of that, seeing if there's any witnesses. Kind of depends.
Look, she's confused
each
too,
one's
Christine,
different,
so
but just
you're not the
doing
only
a
one.
thorough investigation.
If one of the other witnesses took the officers through the entire premises and showed broken glass, spilled wine, and a number of areas of disturbance and vandalism, what would the officers' obligations be then?
The officers would still need to determine if there was enough evidence there from these witness statements and the things that they're seeing to determine if this injury is a result of a crime.
What discretion do the police officers have when they see an injury on the victim when they report it to a domestic
injury?
So,
document their arm.
Again, do not do any outside.
Yeah.
Statement about the sanctity of attorney.
Startup was at least.
Horrible inside. Our lawyers are from time to time in magazines.
Video
Independent people
Yes.
who, as a lawyer,
like,
This is broken.
I don't think it moves the needle necessarily or changes the weight of evidence.
Form of audit Twitter.
Heard. So hopefully we hear from him soon. He tweeted. Speaking of T, was a major boost for Amber Heard.
There was
since I mean it
house for a few weeks. You didn't hear or see any abuse by Mr. Depp towards Miss Heard, correct?
Correct.
And did you go to Amber and Johnny's penthouse thereafter, or where did you go next?
So I just remember at some point ending up, yes, at some point we were over there.
Did you go?
Police officers. At this point in time, I don't remember what I saw on the floor when I walked in. Wine spill,
Seeing the wine spill.
maybe after I saw that.
It was correct.
I remember
Ms. Heard's face. You said it was the right side of her face. You said it was
swollen.
Okay.
If there was, and I don't remember this being Amber and Johnny's round.
Depict what you saw on Amber.
You know, I don't know if hugging is the right way, but they would definitely had a moment where they were together. 16.
Ms. Heard. So I don't
know I've concealed those bruises, so yeah, so I can see them because I know I did it, but so that's neither here
You
or there.
can't see it.
What kind of answer is that?
Yeah. It's her admitting that you can't see them. I did such a good job, but you can't see them.
I mean, I don't have the mask anymore, but all that darkness right there, that is not eyeshadow. And that is neither dark circle for not sleeping. This is part of the little, you know, the injury is showing through.
She says she
do you
can see
see
it.
any discoloration or bruising on the bridge of her nose?
I do not. No, I must have done a great job there.
Do you recall anything about Ms.
I
Heard's
did a great job
I'm
there.
telling
when
you,
you
she's
first
saying I do a
encountered
good
her
job.
in Coachella Valley?
Yeah, but at least I'm hearing her say I can still see it through.
Did you notice any injuries?
Kurt, man, I
to Ms.
appreciate
Heard?
your benefit of the doubt, but she's clearly just, she
Do you
can't
recall
actually
Ms.
see it.
Heard
She's defending herself
discussing
here.
any abuse that she had sustained
This is the
the
only
night
part
of
of her
birthday on
testimony that's
April 21st,
wishy-washy.
2016 by Mr.
Everything
Depp?
else is pretty strong.
Yes.
What do you recall about that?
I recall there was a fight. There was I don't remember. I don't exactly recall the fight. I know they would fight and there was some problem. That's why they were late coming back to Coachella's. I don't recall exactly what she told me.
Another job.
The last time we worked on a project together would be Aquaman, so 2017. I don't know about exclusive. We don't have any sort of exclusivity contracts. She may work with other coaches. The last
that is
time
the same
we
one.
worked on a project together would be Aquaman, so 2017.
Okay, so the first movie, or the first TV series, I should say, that you recall working on as an acting coach with Amber Heard was the Playboy Club.
Yes.
Michelle, it's just because they're unavailable. They can't testify in court. There is a cross-examination on a depo.
I take it from what you just described that although the frequency varied, it's fair to say, is it not, that you saw Ms. Heard many, many, many times during the period between 2010 and 2017?
Oh, yes.
Would it be fair to say that you saw Ms. Heard during this 7-year period more than 100 times?
Easily, yes.
And when you say easily, do you think it's also fair to
Mary
say that you
had
saw her more
a
than
little
200 times?
lamb. His face was white as
Absolutely, yeah.
snow. And everywhere
I'm
that
going to go up
boy
another
went,
100. Same
the
answer
lamb
for
was
300
sure
times.
to go.
Yeah.
Okay, Kurt.
As I said, when I would see
Let
her
people listen.
That's a good impression.
multiple times a week in preparation for a project.
When's the last time that you had a session with Amber Heard as her primary acting coach?
Mid 2017.
During that early period when she was on Orange Avenue, how would you describe, Amber Heard as an actor?
She was really focused on moving to the next level of her career, and really stretching herself as an actor. Which is why she started coaching so much at that time, and initially even went to classes.
Nice.
So she was really driven to do a lot of work, and kind of mine out everything that we could from the text and go over things a lot. So she was very driven as an actor to, I would say, get to the next phase of her career.
But looking at Section 1, refresh your recollection as to when that took place. That's the IMDb page.
Yes, it was either 2011 or 2012. If it's saying that it came out in 2011, then the premiere would have been in 2011. So yeah.
When was the next time you recall seeing Johnny or Mr. Depp?
I would say sometime in the middle of the following year.
So sometime in the middle of 2012, you think?
Yeah.
And where was that?
At her house on Orange. I remember seeing him quite a bit. In the early period.
Again, I'm focused on the early period. Did you have occasion to run into Mr. Depp at your coaching sessions with Amber later when she moved into Sweetser Avenue and then at the penthouse in downtown Los Angeles?
Yes, I did see him often at both Sweetser and the downtown.
And over that period of time, did you observe changes in Mr. Depp's behavior?
Yeah, Johnny became, I would say, much darker as time went on. He was like figuratively and literally, he would sit in dark rooms. The art overall changed. Like everything got much darker in the houses with like heavy. It was always a little. I don't know what the art form would be. Dark, but it just like literally lighting would go down and big curtains would be everywhere, and he became much less talkative as time went on. I would see less and less of him personally. I would hear him in the house, but I would see less and less of him interaction-wise. And when I did, he wasn't very happy.
What would you hear him say on those occasions when you could hear him but not see him?
At different points in time, I heard different things. Sometimes it would just be him milling around the house. Sometimes it would be him having conversations with his team, bodyguards and stuff, or his friends that were over making music at the Sweetser location. Sometimes it was him and Amber fighting. Like I was in his home, so I heard him quite a bit.
You said a couple of answers ago that from time to time you would hear Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard fighting. Can you, again, keeping in mind that it's a long time ago, can you describe what you heard?
I would say I would just hear a lot of him yelling. His voice would carry through kind of the halls of the house. And then like I remember one time in specific that I could hear Amber was trying to get out of the room and then the door shut again. And then I could just hear muffled yelling on his part.
At the beginning of their relationship, once Ms. Heard has revealed to you that they were in fact in a relationship, did she talk to you about Mr. Depp's struggles with drugs and alcohol?
In the early parts of their relationship, she had said that he was sober. She was trying to support him in his sobriety. And then subsequently throughout the relationship, we would talk about his breaks in sobriety.
Based on your work as Ms. Heard's acting coach, primary acting coach, was it your understanding that Mr. Depp had opinions about what role Ms. Heard should take?
There were a couple of occasions where I actually heard Johnny say, why would you want to do that kind of role? My woman isn't going to play that kind of role. Stuff like that I heard a few times from him over the course of time.
Other than saying that hearing Mr. Depp say he didn't want his woman playing a whore, did you ever hear him use any other language like that about the kind of roles that Ms. Heard was being offered? To focus you in, Ms. Sexton, I'm talking about the period when Amber and Johnny were together in a relationship until you stopped being her acting coach in 2017. And I'm focusing in on what you recall hearing from Mr. Depp about what roles he thought Ms. Heard should play.
As I said, he would be sitting, usually when she lived in the Orange location, sometimes he would be nearby. It was a fairly small house, and he would be nearby and kind of earshot. So there were times that he was kind of just disparaging. That's a shitty role. Why would you do that? Later on, as it went on, he was very vocal about the negative terms. Like I said, he called it a whore part or a trash part. Really pretty negative.
That Ms.
Being on it, they're incredibly always
Experts are paid
them some together.
with
Other different people were
circumstances.
You know, it's not like, at least there's a possibility of that.
You all talk about it. I am.
Heard which bad, but
In this video, and welcome to
On your Twitter, correct?
I did not put it on.
choose not to do scum as a for me,
Look, I've
and
said
then not
80-20.
hearing corroboration from other people so far right after her.
I said 80-20, but that
about the negative terms. Like I said, he called it a whore part or a trash part, or a piece of shit, all sorts of things like that. Generally pretty negative if it was something he didn't want her to do.
Did the number of roles that Ms. Heard auditioned for change during the time that she was in?
Being there, I don't know what kind of injury would have caused this. I'm not a medical expert, no forensic expert, but it was slightly swollen. And by the way, you can see it in that video, so it's crazy.
Which is good, a good thing, by the way, because it shows that they truly do not know about this case before coming in here and serving as jurors. And that's exactly what we want is people coming right off the street, not knowing anything about it. But that could also kind of play a role after hearing about that testimony and then walking outside and seeing all that support again, as it has been day in and day out. And then just kind of thinking like that could.
As you sit
Ellen Barkin.
Up on my desk.
All right.
Ellen Barkin.
Here
we go.
Thank you.
11 minutes with Ellen Barkin.
11 minutes.
I think
He tossed a bottle.
What
ahead,
we
go
learned
ahead.
from that depot is that no one else from Disney is going to show up, right? And so like no, but I mean that as far as I don't know that's that long.
I think the first thing that would be very short but very
Chocolate.
simple and clean for the record is if you could just describe kind of your career background. I know it's very lengthy, but just give a kind of
A little
brief
suck
summary
up
to
to
start
start.
when you started working and
I know
what
it's
you wanted to
lengthy,
do.
but explain your career.
I started acting professionally about 26 or 7. And I did theater, television, movies, lots of them. That's what I did for 40 years.
And in the course of your career acting in theater, television, movies, etc., did you come to meet a person by the name of Johnny Depp?
Yes.
Can you specify in time, Ms. Barkin, when you met him?
I would say 1990.
And upon or after meeting him, did there come a time when you became friends?
Yes.
And can you describe how that happened?
We just developed a friendship over time that lasted, I guess, if we met in the 90s, maybe 10 years, a little less.
And fair to say that Mr. Depp at the time was also an actor, a professional actor?
Yes.
Were you, did you act in any film, stage, or TV productions with Mr. Depp?
Yes, I was in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
How often would you see Mr. Depp?
When I lived in New York, usually whenever I go to LA, if I were in LA, I'd see him once a week, maybe more. I mean, the friendship went up and down, living on different coasts.
And did there come a time when your friendship with Mr. Depp became more than that, became romantic in nature?
Yes.
And at what point in time did your relationship with Mr. Depp take a romantic turn?
After I had moved to Hollywood, and he, switched the buttons.
Recall what year you moved to Hollywood?
Yes, 1994.
When you say switch the buttons, can you tell me what you meant by that?
The friendship went from a purely platonic friendship to a romantic.
I've never heard anyone use that phrase before.
At that point in 1994, when the relationship turned romantic, to your
Can you change that to sexual?
To sexual.
Thank you.
For how long
Weird.
did your relationship with Mr.
It's just
Depp
weird.
remain sexual?
Several months. Anywhere between 3 and 5, 6.
And during that period, how often would you see Mr. Depp? That period when it was sexual?
I'd say I'd see him 3 or 4 times a week.
And again, I'm not looking to pry into private details, but can you tell me like where
Yes,
you
you
would
are.
see him?
Yeah,
Give me some sense.
Sounds like she
He would
doesn't
come to
care.
my house, or I would go to his house.
In both houses in LA?
Yes, about 10-minute drive apart from each other.
That's how this is done.
At either when you were at his house, where you didn't stay the night, or where you were at his house when you did stay the night, were there other people in the house who saw you there? Who would those people be?
He had an assistant. His sister. That's all I can remember now.
Do you recall the name of the assistant?
I don't know his name. He was referred to as Pig.
He was referred to by whom as Pig?
Johnny Depp.
At any point that you were either initially friends and then sexual with Mr. Depp, did you become aware that he drank to excess?
I was always aware.
Okay, and can you explain how you were aware of that?
He was drunk all the time, a lot of the time.
And that would apply both to when you were initially friends and then later when it became sexual?
Yeah.
And what was he drunk? What was your understanding? What had he drunk to become drunk?
He was a red wine drinker.
Okay. In addition to alcohol, were you aware at that time that Mr. Depp was taking any prescription medication?
No.
Same question, Mr. Barkin, for illegal substances.
Yes.
Same question. And what illegal substances?
Hallucinogenics. Cocaine. Marijuana.
Hallucinogenics. Can you say specifically what those were?
I don't really know. He called me and told me he was tripping.
God, I was hoping she was going to say tripping balls.
With respect to any of that, hallucinogenics, cocaine, or marijuana, did he do any of that in your presence?
Yes.
More than once?
All the time.
Her voice sounds a little bit similar.
When you say all the time, how many times, again, in the period that you were both first friends and sexual, then
Yet
sexual?
somehow
with
he was
Mr. Depp,
able to keep
you
getting
think you
jobs
saw
and
it?
making money.
Even tell you.
Back in the 90s.
I just know he was
Drugs
always
and alcohol.
drinking and or smoking a joint.
Yeah, I agree that romantic
fair
to
to say more than
sexual
at least
thing
dozens of
sounded
Yeah.
bitter.
Over
It
the
sounded
full
quite
course.
bitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help her look like an objective person for them to analyze.
Now, did you ever observe, Ms. Barkin, Mr. Depp's behavior change when he drank more or used more drugs?
I did not.
So he was kind of the same all the time, fair to say?
It was not the same. He was high.
Did there come a time,
You just what? One question too
Ms.
many.
Barkin, when
Move on. After she says
Mr.
no, it
Depp
doesn't change.
acted in a way that was out of control with you?
Yes. Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room, the hotel room on one instance in Las Vegas while we were shooting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Was something about to happen?
A fight was going on.
Between you and Mr. Depp?
No.
Who was the fight between?
Between Johnny Depp and his friends in the room, the assistant. Honestly, I don't remember.
And the bottle do you remember sitting here today, Ms. Barkin, whether the bottle was full of wine or empty?
I don't.
Sitting here today, Ms. Barkin, do you remember whether the bottle hit you?
No, it did not.
Did the bottle hit anyone else?
No, it did not.
Approximately how far away from you was Mr. Depp when he threw the bottle?
Across the room, so maybe by that break in the table or a little further down. It was a toss.
And
Rob.
sitting here today, if the bottle had hit you, would it have injured you? Sure. Ms. Barkin, was it your understanding back then that he was throwing the bottle at you?
I don't know why he threw
Why was
the
that
bottle.
question allowed in the
And
video?
was it when he threw it? Was it
The
in
edits
your
are super
direction?
weird.
Yes.
It's bad
Are there
edits.
other people
It's
sitting
rushed
around?
edits, I think.
Yes.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Mad at that.
In your
Allison,
direction at a
you're
group.
right. That's where I
Yes.
recognize her from,
Whose
was
hotel room
Ocean's
was it?
12.
His Johnny Depp's.
Sea of Love?
Who broke up?
He did.
How did it come
I
about?
You really
that
don't
Mr.
recognize
Ellen
Depp
Barkin?
broke
Um,
She
up?
looked a lot different in that movie to my
I
mind.
went to go home.
Mark,
There
remember
was a
how
big
I said that I'm
goodbye,
basic?
Crying, a lot of jealous, and don't do this, don't do that. And
Basic is good. I
I
love
never heard
Basic.
from them again after that.
I'll
And
own
did
it.
Mr. Depp not want you to go back to Los Angeles at the time?
Yes, he didn't want me to go. I was only supposed to be there for 2 days. I stayed for longer.
And you just referenced, you just used the word jealous. How did that come up? What did he say that indicated to you that he was jealous?
He's just a jealous man, controlling. Where are you going? Who are you going?
How are you? 元気? 元気? I'm good. 元気? 元気? Thank you. ありがとう。ありがとう。I'm sorry. ごめん。ごめん。Yes. うん。うん。No. ううん。ううん。Are you okay? 大丈夫？大丈夫？はい。やっほー。やっほー。Sure. いいよ。いいよ。I'm tired. 疲れた。疲れた。I'm sleepy. 眠い。眠い。It's hot. 暑い。暑い。It's very hot.
Yes, he didn't want me. And
Basic is good. I,
I
In the
And
video.
was it, when he threw it, was it
The
in your,
edits
down.
away from you? Was Mr. Depp, he threw the bottle?
Across the room, so maybe by that break in the table or a little further down. It was a toss.
And
Row.
sitting here today, if the bottle had hit you, would it have injured you? Sure. Ms. Barker, was it your understanding back then that he was throwing the bottle at you?
I don't know why he threw
Why was
the
that
bottle.
question allowed in the
And
video?
was it, when he threw it, was it
The
in
edits
your
are super
direction?
weird.
Yes.
It's bad
Are there other
edits.
people
It's
sitting
rushed
around?
edits, I think.
Yes.
Then
That's
she was
right.
mad at
In
them.
your
Allison,
direction at a
You're
group.
right. That's where I
Yes.
recognize her from
Whose
was
hotel room
Ocean's
was it?
12.
His Johnny Depp's.
Sea of Love?
Who broke up?
He did.
How did it come
I
about?
haven't
You really
seen
not
that,
recognize
sorry.
Ellen Barkin?
you look a lot different in that movie.
I went to go home.
Mark,
there was
remember
a
how
big
I said that I'm
goodbye,
basic?
Crying, a lot of jealous, and don't do this, don't do that. And
Basic is good. I
I
like
never heard
Basic.
from them again after that.
And
I'll own
did,
it.
Mr. Depp not want you to go back to Los Angeles at the time?
Yes, he didn't want me to go. I was only supposed to be there for 2 days. I stayed for longer.
And you just referenced, you just used the word jealous. How did that come up? What did he say that indicated to you that he was jealous?
He's just a jealous man, controlling. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What did you do last night? I had a scratch on my back once that got him very, very angry because he insisted it came from me having sex with a person who wasn't him.
During the time you were in a sexual relationship with Mr. Depp, was it common for him to say things to you about being controlling, to use your words, or being jealous of you?
Yeah, very common.
And when, in these instances, when Mr. Depp became jealous or controlling, did he also become angry?
Yeah. And demanding.
Well, that wasn't the
Ladies
kill
and gentlemen, let's go and
shot I
take
thought
your
it would be.
afternoon recess. Please do not discuss the case and do not do any outside research.
Why didn't they
okay?
ask if
Be
he
back
ever hit
in
her?
15 minutes.
Because they knew the answer.
But Johnny Depp's lawyers are there.
Maybe
Makes
that's
no
coming
sense.
up. I don't know.
Her changing it from throw to toss was really interesting.
Softened it.
Softened it.
Big
How
time.
old is this woman?
She's comparable to Johnny.
Come back at 3:45.
Yeah.
She's like the same age as Amber, if I had to guess.
Okay.
No. She was born in like, I'm gonna say probably she's like my dad's age, so she's probably like born in the mid 50s, so she's probably like 65 now. Would be my guess, something like that.
Yeah, around Johnny's age, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Johnny's 65?
So she.
I think,
Ellen
I think
Barkin's
Johnny. I
born in
think Johnny was
19
born in the 60s, so he's probably late 50s.
Ellen Barkin's born in 1954. She is presently 68.
Oh,
That's pretty
okay.
impressive.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't think
for
that's
68,
Johnny's age, though. I don't think
Johnny
he's...
Depp was born in 63. He's presently
Yeah. Oh, he's 58.
So
Woo!
a decade lower.
He was 10 years older than him. Wow.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah, Ellen Barkin was in stuff, you know, in the mid 80s to late 80s, like
Kind of a big
Adventures.
deal.
Yeah. I mean, for Jeff Goldblum nerds, or actually really Peter Weller nerds, Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Ninth Dimension. You know, she's no, okay, whatever. But
Yes,
yeah,
I do know.
there you
Mark.
go.
You need. I can vocally affirm that I know this. I was just nodding.
Yeah. So that was a whole lot of nothing. What we got out of her was one time was we were not in a romantic relationship. We were in a sexual relationship for a period of time. Johnny did drugs. One time he threw a bottle across the room.
Tossed.
Summary.
Tossed a bottle across the room while not fighting with me. There's so many interesting details. This wasn't Ellen Barkin wasn't fighting with Johnny Depp. He didn't throw the bottle. He tossed it. It didn't. I couldn't even decide whether it hit near her.
Why wasn't
It didn't
she
hit
asked,
anyone. Didn't hit her.
Yeah, well, no, but she didn't. But nobody asked that. I mean, nobody asked if he hit her.
No,
he
they
found-
did.
They did ask that.
They,
Oh,
they
I must
asked
have
if,
missed that.
They asked if it hit her. She said no. They asked if
No,
it
no,
hit
the
anyone.
bottle
She
did
said
hit-
no.
I mean,
Oh,
the
it
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
hit
Johnny
Johnny
John?
Depp
hit
hit
her.
her.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he was controlling and he got mad at a scratch on her back and he was drunk and doing drugs, but he never hit you. Because he's admitted to getting mad and getting drunk and getting high. So she would corroborate a lot of what and he admitted to throwing things and smashing things, inanimate objects.
Yeah.
So why not ask, did he ever hit you? So he got mad about that scratch and he was jealous and controlling. Did he hit you when he got mad? No, because he doesn't hit people.
Did Johnny's attorneys ask any questions?
I'm sure. I'm sure because I mean it's standard, right? For
Well, I know, but that's
depositions.
what I'm saying. Like, did we hear any in that 11-minute depo?
It may not have. It may not have made it into what we saw.
I didn't hear any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
It's hard to believe Johnny Depp's lawyers didn't ask that question. So I would
Right.
imagine that we may see this again during the rebuttal case.
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Is this whole video depo like playing them out of order? Sometimes playing the rebuttal questions like first.
I don't see how they would do that. I don't see how they would get the
I
whole
agree.
depo in by the rule of completion right now if they want to.
That too.
I think so.
There
I
are
agree.
also
I agree.
sometimes what's weird about this, right? And it's different from my jurisdiction. So you do a discovery depo. Sometimes a witness doesn't hurt you, so you don't ask any questions. You just say, "Yeah, nothing. I got nothing." But then if it's going to get played at trial, that's weird because we do a separate trial depo if we're going to play a depo at trial. If they're unavailable, we will do a trial depo.
Mike was talking about this earlier too. He said I've never seen this before in a regular trial, or in a regular trial in any trial to use a regular discovery deposition in a trial. I said that I've seen it once, but it was because the deponent had died before they went to trial, and I think it was unexpected.
We have, and it
So-
sucks, but we have, but
But this is
Yeah,
not
not
one of
close
those
to
cases.
normal. It is not close
And
to
I
normal.
think
Yeah.
I think that the reason why they allowed it in this case is because it's been so contentious and so expensive, and to try to get a lot of these witnesses again. There are so many witnesses to gather for these depositions that they probably just decided, you know what, like we'll use what we have and just go from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
have
was
a
really
fear.
weird.
I have a fear that as we end today, this will be the most useless day of testimony. Period. No, I do. I can't think of one thing that I thought was really compelling. And I'm looking for pro Amber Heard stuff. It's her.
No,
I
yeah,
thought
I disagree
hashtag
with you.
Amber
I think
Heard
there was a lot
pretty
of good for
compelling.
Johnny today.
Well, yeah, but considering the fact that we're in Amber's case in chief, I was expecting to get some more blood drawn.
Well, what do you think is so strong for Johnny today? Just out of curiosity.
So I think, first off, I think the fact that he never hit Ellen Barkin, even though we didn't actually hear that, I kind of intimated that from her testimony. I thought
Yeah,
was
there's nothing
good.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Ron Schnell, I thought, just basically had nothing for Amber to prove that that the justice for Johnny and Amber Turd, I think that was all good for him, that everybody in the world is supporting Johnny Depp. I thought the detective that said that if they see anything, whether or not there's cooperation by the victim, they arrest them. I can infer from that they literally saw absolutely nothing, or they would have been instructed to arrest somebody, go make a DV arrest, and they didn't. Adam Waldman, I didn't think was necessarily good for Johnny Depp. The business manager, I didn't think was necessarily good for Johnny Depp or anybody. Tracy Jacobs, I thought was good for Johnny Depp. He was a superstar, whatever. Now he's not. No other women ever accused him of abuse. She knew him for 30 years. She repped him. She had to sell him. She knew the good, the bad, the ugly, and nobody ever mentioned to her that, including Amber Heard, that he beat her. And then Bruce Witkin, I thought he was going to be much worse for Johnny Depp. All he basically got out bad was, and that's the one good thing for Amber Heard, is that somebody said if you're on the payroll, you do what Johnny Depp says, basically. But from his perspective, his best friend, his brother-in-law, no violence, no beatings, nobody complained to him. He never saw it. They did drugs, alcohol, rock and roll together, and that never came out in front of him either.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're on the payroll, you do what Johnny Depp says. It's such a weird comment because that's kind of the nature of being on the payroll. You do what your employer says.
Well, the implication is more than that.
You'll come
right?
live.
Extra legal.
I know what the
help.
implication is, but like, yeah. Anyways,
I mean, theoretically, weren't Amber's friends on her payroll?
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
coming in
well,
as
but
an-
honestly, a lot of Amber's friends were on Johnny's payroll. You know, like, so it's.
But that's
the
really
whole-
Amber's payroll, right? I mean,
But this is the whole thing. To me, these sort of levels of biases of like who is beholden to whom so often crosses out. Like, you know, even Whitney, Amber's sister, you know, like Whitney's lifestyle was being funded by Johnny, you know, and like, so she had a relationship with Johnny just like she had a relationship with her sister. So like, there, you know, we can, if you like one side or the other, you can certainly point to those sort
I
of
agree.
things. But in my end, I feel like those sort of like, oh, they're beholden to this. in the end, it kind of cancels out. Everybody's
I
behold
agree.
everybody.
I
here,
will say
Which
that
is why the cops are so important.
Yeah,
And these
yeah.
witnesses that used to work for Johnny that Amber's calling seem important to me because
Well,
they're
I will just
less
say-
biased.
I will say, to me, working for Johnny is the absence of things working for Amber. But by the time you bring in a video of a 30-year-old wine toss, I'm like, what do you have? This day feels worse to me for Amber because I don't feel like you did anything. You wasted my time today.
Did you guys think yesterday was a positive day for Amber?
Yes.
Yes, on the whole.
I think
started
most
off
of us did.
thinking so. And the more I thought about it, the more it kind of got diminished in my mind. The more I was really thinking about the way that the witnesses lined up or didn't line up with key points in Amber's testimony, that I was like, how can anybody really trust what's going on here with her witnesses? Because there are all kinds of things that are just not lining up.
The biggest change, I think, or at least from what I took away from most of the day, was like we all on this stream were listening to Whitney being like, okay, pretty credible witness, and then all of a sudden the people in the room were like, everybody hated Whitney in the room. We're like, oh, okay, like what was going on there that we weren't?
Did you see that Getty picture of Whitney sitting next to Ian?
Yeah.
That was quite the look.
Yeah. But anyway, to me, I'm wondering, like, the only thing so far I've gotten out of today is like, are we going to hear from anyone else from Disney? Even in Johnny's case? Like, because if we're not, that's the plus for Amber today. The plus is Johnny needs to, if Johnny wants to win a defamation case, he's gonna need to prove that he lost wages and lost stuff that he was saying he was losing due to Amber's op-ed. And like the Disney execs certainly didn't add to that. That is the only potential positive.
I think that they have shown elsewhere. They have been able to show that elsewhere through other witnesses. Particularly the expert that was able to show in the difference between 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, the number of films, the kind of films that he was doing, and how it just completely fell off.
I gotta say, I think we're giving a little too much credit to the experts from a jury's perspective. If I'm sitting on that jury, I don't really care who you put on that stand. I know he was hurt from this article. I know I lived through Me Too. I know what allegations like this do to people. And yeah, he was damaged by this. If she was lying.
And it also is defamation per se.
I still say if they can't decide on the actual calculation, they give $7 million. I mean, it's popped up so many times about that's what she took from the divorce. I think it's 7.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm not saying like, hey, this is a great thing for Amber, but to my mind, that's the only thing I've really taken away from this is that like Disney is not getting involved. Disney wants to maintain relationships with both people, but because they don't
saying I can't
all taken care of for the week.
Day 19 of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. The one that is responsible for them because she didn't actually see anything. And finally, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the recap yesterday, but Rocky did in fact say that she had some kind of a falling out or distancing in her relationship with Amber. And Io had testified the same thing. And it sounds like Josh Drew also hasn't heard from her. And pretty much all of the witnesses that we heard from today, aside from Whitney, basically are in the same boat. Now, this could indicate that Amber has a hard time keeping friends. This could be an indication of a problem overall in her relationships and could potentially apply that to her relationship with Johnny as well. This would essentially imply that Amber is the problem here in all of these relationships. Johnny, not so much. But there also came a possibility that started to develop that may or may not be real here, but is worth noting nonetheless, is the possibility that they also could be testifying to a broken relationship with Amber in order to try to make their, no, come here. Basically in order to make it look like they are all broken up as friends and that they have no real bias or motive to line up their testimony anymore or to testify really in favor of Amber. But they also could be playing that. So there's a possibility I'm not sure if I'm particularly convinced at this point. Others, it seems, are, and the jury might be as well. Anyway, then we saw Josh Drew. I will say that in terms of performance, Josh was much more convincing in his delivery of his testimony than Rocky was. As an example, where Rocky would wait for an awkward amount of time before responding to every question and seemed to be thinking more about her answer before responding, Josh responded much more quickly and in a much more straightforward way and with much more confident posture. Now, as an attorney, I have advised clients and other witnesses to take their time in responding to a question in a deposition because it allows them to maintain control over what they say, and it helps to prevent them from saying something that's inaccurate, misleading, or from getting caught up in some sort of a lawyer's trap. But at the same time, taking your time can also go too far and can start to make a witness look like they're just being overly judicious about their words, which can come across to a jury as very sus. And in this case, that started to look like that could be an issue with Rocky. But as far as Josh is concerned, the main thing that Josh was talking about was the May 21st, 2016 incident and how he was there to essentially take care of the ladies to make sure nothing happened to any of them after Johnny left. He testified to letting the cops into the penthouses when they came in to investigate and essentially giving them a tour of the area and showing them the damage. And he said that the cops stepped over the sopping wet wine stains in the hallway carpet in order to come inside. But the problem with him